Hello, my name is Jessica, and today we are proposing that workers should be exempt from any requirement to join a union to be employed by an employer. So to start off, unions are exploiting their workers. Union fees are not going to members for protection, but a lot of the money actually goes to politicians. And in 2008, labor unions spent $75 million in political donations, with 92% of it going to Democrats. The unions encourage people to join, and they usually encourage people based on trying to make it seem like it's going to benefit them, when in reality, it actually benefits the union. And an example of when this happened is the Fight for 15 movement. It initially had nothing to do with winning a higher minimum wage. It started as an effort to intimidate CTAC employees into unionizing. Members have no say in the overall actions of the unions. They don't have any say in where the money goes, so a lot of these members don't really agree with where the money is being spent. And if Democrats and Republicans have to convince the electorate every few years to represent them, then why don't union members have the same right to vote if they want to be a part of this? Our next point is that unions are enabling workers. Unions don't have the resources to monitor an individual's performance, and instead they favor seniority over quality of work. So people don't really have a chance to move up in a company because it's based on how long they've been there. So you can have a person who is a lazy worker over a person who works really well, but if they're going to favor the veteran worker, regardless of work ethic. And when business slows, unions will cut off their newer members. So this is another example of where seniority is favored. And the newest hires lose their jobs over the people who have been there longer. Which leads us to our next point. Unions aren't always helpful to the members. Labor unions can be costly, not just to employees, but the employees as well. The employers as well, sorry. High mandatory dues, which are, Wisconsin public employee unions have been problematic in another way. High mandatory dues with union fees of $500 to $1,000, employees have had to give money to unions, whether they approved or did not. The money had to be spent on that. And another example of when this happened is so our next point is unions are harmful to the economy. One way that they are harmful is research shows that employment actually drops. So one argument that is usually set out is that it increases the amount of jobs, but employment drops 5 to 10% after unions organize a business. Thereafter, jobs in the unionized companies grow more slowly by an average of about 3 to 4% percentage points than a comparable non-union company. Of course, unions try to avoid pushing the business they organize over a cliff. And another example of when this happened is the UAW, the United Auto Workers Union. If workers demanded for a higher pay, they basically had to meet that demand, and if the demand was not met, then the workers would strike, and this would shut down the operation. So this led to bankruptcy in 2008 when the wages and benefits exceeded over $70 an hour. So if a company makes a total of $100 million, it pays $90 million in expenses like salaries, wages, taxes. This leaves the company $10 million in profit, which is usually for extra costs, and the money has to come from somewhere. So if companies give a raise to their employees, that's where the money comes from, and then it basically they have to raise their prices, so the consumers are the ones paying for it. And unions are not necessary for a successful workplace. Employee involvement programs can be implemented, so the union is not always the answer. There can be self-directed work teams, safety committees, and production committees. The essential element in advancing employee interests through the employee involvement. So polls show that 60% of workers prefer to do EI programs to involve working conditions rather than join any union. So today we have many labor laws protecting unions. So this shows that we don't really need unions for workers to be protected. The US has the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the Equal Pay Act, and the Family and Medical Leave Act. And of course, OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. So with this being said, workers should not be exempt to joining a union in order to be employed by an employer. Thank you.